Well, I'm here with Les Williams, who has been with and following the club since 1951. He's our club historian. There is nobody that I've ever met that knows more about Llanelli's history than this man, and has been actually our official historian in his 47th season, is it now, Les? So a fantastic track record in terms of following our history. Looking forward now to our 5,000th game, can you just take us back to where it all began?
Well, the very first game which we have recorded was the 1st of January 1876 when Llanelli played Cambrian Works in People's Park, Llanelli. That was the very first game. And the second game was Swansea. So Swansea are our oldest opponents really. And as we speak now, we're on 4,998 with 2 to go, and the 5,000th is against Leinster, which is a very good fixture to have. Very good quality side, and it's nice to be home as well to celebrate the occasion.
And you recalled a story to me earlier about when, obviously when the Scarlets formed and rugby was regionalised, that you had asked a question of Simon Easterby. Can you just tell me?
Yes, as the statistician I was at the time as well, and I just wanted to know where we stood regarding counting the games from the day that regional rugby came in. So Simon Easterby was the captain, so I asked Simon, and I said, what do you think? And he said, well, I'm changing in the same changing rooms. I'm training on the same nights with the same bunch of players. I'm wearing the same colour jersey. I'm playing on the same pitch. So as far as he was concerned, nothing had changed. So we took a decision, and there was no directive from the WIU or nothing in tablets of stone to say which way to go. We decided to continue with the stats. So we didn't go back to 1. So in other words, when Stephen Jones was on 194 games, his first game for regional rugby took him to 195.
So 139 glorious years, years of great wins.
Absolutely.
A few losses.
Yes.
Do you know what the actual statistics are in terms of wins and losses?
Yes, I do. As we speak, we've played 4,998. We've won 3,166, drawn 365, and lost the remaining 1,467. We scored over 76,000 points and conceded nearly 45,000 points.
So still a good average in terms
absolutely, yes. It's
over that period.
Yes, Stradi was often a sort of fortress. Not often did we lose, and everybody wanted to come to Stradi and play. And some of the lesser teams, that never had an opportunity to play on the big stage, wanted to come down, and we always accommodated them. And that's why we're near 5,000.
And 204 internationals now?
204 internationals now, yes. George North was the 200th.
So a fantastic history in terms of internationals, but also British Lions as well. Is it 14 or?
Yeah, well, we're 21 players who have toured with the Lions, but 14 have played in tests. And of course we've had Carwyn James as a coach, we've had Gary Jenkins as a coach, etc. So we've done our bit for the Lions. And of course Phil Bennett then was captain of the 77 Lions tour.
I asked you a very difficult question a week or so ago, which was to name your ultimate Scarlets 15. Obviously very difficult throughout those eras, and you could only probably judge on the 50 or so years that you've been following, but could you run through your list?
My back line would be Terry Davis, Ian Evans, D. Ken Jones, Terry Price and Ray Williams. And the half-backs would have to be Phil Bennett, who I would put as vice-captain. And I agonised over the scrum-half position, but I did go for Dwayne Peel. Right, the forwards. Very difficult again. Brian Butler, loose head, hardest man I've come across. He should have been capped by Wales, but decided to go to Rugby League. Norman Gale as hooker, and Barry Llewellyn, outstanding, very mobile, could play in the back row. Welsh international again, should have had a Lions tour. So there's your front row. Second row, Delmy Thomas, of course, captain. And I put R.H. Williams with him in the second row, which meant I had to find a place for Derek Quinnell. So I put Derek Quinnell as a number 6 blindside flanker. His son, Scott Quinnell, as the number 8. And Mr. Llanelli RFC, to me, Scarlett Jenkins as the open side. I have listed some on the bench in order to cover my because I could only pick 15, I've got a few more now. So my forwards would be Howard Ash Davis as a prop, Roy Thomas as a hooker, Phil Davis, versatile forward, and Stuart Gallagher. And then the backs would be Dennis Thomas, Stephen Jones, Cyril Davis, and Frano Botica.
So I've asked you, Les, to look at 5 games that perhaps aren't our most celebrated games like the All Blacks and the Wallabies wins, that perhaps are key moments in our history that, as you see them over the time that you've been following us. Can you just take us through those?
The first game I picked is against the Australian stateside Queensland, who came over here. The reason I picked this game is that we played almost a shadow 15, because the following Saturday we were playing Pontypool in the Cup. The second game I picked is the Royal Regiment of Wales in 1977, not because of the game as such, but it was a tremendous honour that His Royal Highness Prince Charles came along and brought his Royal Regiment with him. Llanelli did win 41-12.
Right, good.
It wasn't a memorable game, I'm sure, but I know Charles Thomas, one of our props, scored a couple of tries in that game, and Phil Bennett was on kicking form. And but the occasion was that Prince Charles had paid us a visit in the Queen's Jubilee year. I think that was the main reason for it.
Your third?
The third game was Munster in 2007, the quarter-final at Stradey, a packed Stradey, when we beat Munster 24-15. The fourth game is Ulster at home on the 14th of May 2004. It was the last game of the season. We needed to win the Celtic League, and we did. 23 points to 16. My fifth and final game is going back to 92-93 season, which I believe is the best season ever that I've seen. And we went to Rodney Parade in September 1992, and we beat about 79 points to 10, which was phenomenal, with Colin Stevens racking up 39 points, which is still a club record. And the captain was Rupert Moon, so he was very pleased. Darren Evans scored 3 tries, and to come away from Rodney Parade with that score. But that was only the start of a fantastic season. We only lost 3 games all season.
You were talking to me earlier about the shield behind us. Can you explain why that's so significant?
Yes, it was presented to us by the Welsh Rugby Union because we'd won the Welsh Rugby Union Challenge Cup for 4 consecutive seasons. In 73 we beat Cardiff, in 74 Aberafon, 75 Aberafon, and 76 Swansea. Whilst we're talking about 5,000 games, it's important to recall that we were the first team to go to Moscow. We played out in Moscow back in the 50s again. We went to France in the early 1900s, which teams weren't travelling in those days. So we've been a pioneer really of the game, and this is why we are where we are.
So Les, coming up to the modern day, in the noughties, can you pick me out a game that really sticks in your memory as one that our supporters and you as our historian would remember fondly?
Well, because Swansea are our oldest opponents and we played them over 360 times, one game does stand out. October 2002, we played Swansea at Stradey, my second home, and we beat Swansea 62 points to 6. So that will stick in my mind.
Most supporters' minds as well.
I can't remember anything else about it, other than it was 62-6.
Fantastic. Just coming into the modern era as well, and looking into the 5,000th game and how we go forward. How do you, it must have changed so much over the years. Following it now, still with the same energy and enthusiasm, I know, because I see most match days here. How does it feel for you really now, seeing the Scarlets here and how they're progressing? Well,
it's so professional now. We've got the academies and we've got the right people in charge, and you can see players like Scott Williams coming through and Josh Turnbull, and it's so well organised now. You can't fail to succeed, I suppose, but so are the other regions, and across the border in England and in France, money talks, and so it's difficult. But we're punching above our weight, I feel, and I think the future is quite bright. I would like more fans to come along and watch us play, but hopefully if the results come our way, perhaps more people will come through the turnstile.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Les. Thank you very much for your time and imparting some of your fantastic knowledge, and really enjoy the 5,000th game next Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.